Dial like to do something about it. Chip got the floor wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this Monday evening in the city, 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for an all new and live edition of Real Talk Memphis. Welcome in. I am your program host. My name is Chip Washington. Very happy to be back in the air chair once again. And ready to do the doggone thing. Well, or I don't know if anybody was expecting the rain that we got about an hour or so ago. Of course, I got none at my house, but I did see coming down this way. Some folks got a little splash and dash, so that felt good. And the temperature knocked that temperature down a little bit today. I know at one point it was right around 199, but knocked it down a little bit. But I think all the rain is gone for the evening, and the sun is back out, which means that some humidity is going to hit us as well. But, it's summertime in Memphis, Tennessee. But nonetheless, glad to have you aboard this evening. We have a pretty good show for you. Some pretty good guests involved as well. But first things first, and how do you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Well, several ways. Right now, 91.7 FM on your radio dial. We are on live right now. You're also live on the WYXR app. We are on the TuneIn app this evening. And we are live streaming the show on Facebook Live for those of you who like to venture in that direction. Once the show posts in the next day or so, it will be available on YouTube. And for those of you who are podcasters, yes, we are a podcast. And you can find us wherever it is you get your podcast. Just put in Real Talk Memphis with Chip or Real Talk Memphis, and it should pop up, and you will not miss a thing. Now, let me back up for a minute with this YouTube deal. And I'm a little slow to some things, and especially in the technological world. But I wish somebody had told me YouTube is a pretty big deal to a lot of folks. A lot of folks hit that YouTube page. So we have our own page. This show has its own channel. You can go to YouTube and you can see the logo there, Real Talk Memphis. My producer Lulu put that together, and it looks good. And you can check out all the shows that you may have missed. I think we got, about 11 now, something like that, since we started doing this, give or take about 10 or 11. Yeah. So you can check out anything you missed. And also we are adding something to that on that page, shorts. You've seen people with these little short, brief little snippets, right? Little sound bites and things like that who've been on various shows and things. Well, we've done that as well. And Bren, who is my board producer, he is putting that together. After the show is over, like tonight, we'll take the best of a particular guest and make a soundbite out of that and put that on the YouTube page as well. So you can just get a little bit of a sample of what you missed if you missed the show. And it may take you exactly to the show so you can see the entire thing. You see how these things work? Everything is interconnected. So there you go. So that's how you can find us in terms of tonight. And speaking of tonight, we do have a pretty good guest list. First up in just a couple of minutes, Frankie Dakin. Now, Frankie has been around the political world for quite a long period of time for being such a young man. Currently, he is the city manager of Millington. A lot of folks talking about Millington, and it is really going places. It is the fastest growing city, I believe I heard, in West Tennessee now. And why are people flocking to Millington. A lot of us know there's a military base out there, but there's a lot more going on out there as well that people are talking about, and Frankie will join me to have that conversation a little bit later on. We will talk with City Councilwoman Jerri Green, and she's not been on the show for a while. She's been a little busy, and we'll talk about that too at some point during our conversation, but she is a City Councilwoman here in the city of Memphis, and there's a lot going on there that we need to get caught up on, and we will do that with her a little bit later on. And in the second half hour of the show, a lot of you are sports fans out here, and we are getting to the time of year, late summer into fall, where things are starting to percolate again. Football is starting to come around now. We're seeing NFL preseason. College football is right around the corner as well. And then right after that, we're looking at college basketball, then the Grizzlies, and a lot going on in the sports world. So I thought I'd have someone on the show tonight to talk a little bit about that. He has never been on the show before. This is his first time, and my first time having him. Jason Smith of the radio show Jason and John, that you can hear each and every day on 92.9 ESPN radio from 9 a.m. to noon. And Jason will be on with me in the second half hour talking a little bit about sports and the trend and what's happening. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. So there you go. That is the lineup for tonight's big broadcast. And before we get too deep into that, always want to acknowledge your existence on this earth, AKA your birthday, your trip around the sun. If you were fortunate enough to make one, well, guess what? This little segment is for you. We like to shout out folks who are celebrating one more again, but I can't do that until I say, hit it, Lulu. Happy birthday! Going out to the following folks. Edwin Ford Jr. celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to Rashawn Austin, David Gillard, musical maestro, celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to Delphine Williams, to Sherry Taylor, Carolyn Smith celebrating, and Mr. Anthony Holmes. Happy birthday to all of you, and even those who are celebrating a birthday that we did not mention tonight. Happy birthday to you. I hope today has been filled with love and laughter. And we all hope to be with you next year for your next trip around the sun. Thanks, Lulu. So let us get into some news and notes today. Well, last week, of course, we know the elections happened, and County Mayor-elect Mikhail Lowry has announced his One Shelby transition team. And helping him to put his own administration together. There's a lot of faces and a lot of seats, and a lot of positions, and a lot of things that need to happen if you're going to run county government. And so he has brought together some of the best and the brightest in the city and the county to help him do that. He has said there will be some tough conversations ahead to sort of get Shelby County right size, so to speak. Critical county needs need to be met. And of course, we have to look at the audit and a lot of other things, because fiscally, the county had to borrow $125 million just to pay bills last month. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of all of that. Many of you probably heard a very sad story, and the investigation continues into the death of a 6-year-old girl. She was found unresponsive in a vehicle, a bus, at Kidd University in Cordova last week. Winter Jones was her name. She was 6 years of age. She was nonverbal, and she was autistic. She was dropped off at the daycare by her father. Now, the daycare was supposed to transport her to her school, which was Macon Hall Elementary School. Well, the bus got there. She didn't get off the bus, but was found, unfortunately, later. She had passed away at the daycare later on that day when they looked at the bus and inspected the bus. No one knew she was there, and so she perished as a result of that. There are a lot of questions involving this. First and foremost, prayers to the family of this poor child, and the friends and the colleagues and all the associates involved in all of this. They had a balloon vigil for her yesterday. The investigation into all of this continues. We have not heard anything from the daycare or anyone else who might have been responsible for all of this, but we are mourning her loss, and may her memory always be a blessing. And speaking of transitions, a lot of you older folks remember Prince Mongo. Prince Mongo was an interesting gentleman. He always used to run for mayor around here. He thought he was, he told everybody he was from another planet. No, he was quite the character. Well, he succumbed to his injuries. He fell at his home, suffered a fall, and died as a result of that. He was 79 years of age. And Hayden Panettiere, she was an actress. You may have seen her on various TV shows, Nashville and Heroes and some of the other things. I remember her when she was a little or something, when she played in one of my favorite movies, Remember the Titan. Well, she was found over the weekend, and they're saying an overdose. We don't know specifically what the cause of death was, but she was only 36 years of age. So may their memories always be a blessing. So let us take a break, and when we come back, let's get into this thing, shall we? This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. That's Lulu over there, and on the other side of her is Brent. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see all of that. And you know who you are. Let's take a quick break, prepare for our guests. We'll be back. The ride's about to start. Don't go away.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
This is Tim Prudhomme asking you to join me and Steve Shelley for the new Untitled show on WYXR FM every Monday night from 9 till 10 as we celebrate the history of recorded music.
Yo, this is Devin Germain from The Audio Box. Tune in every Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. where I play a lot of recent releases as well as retro music on occasions. Only on WYXR 91.7 FM.
Hello, friends. Are you craving a soundtrack for the supernatural? The Witching Hour is your answer. Tune in every Monday, 11 p.m. to midnight. Lock your doors, dim the lights, and let the music summon the spirits. Only on WYXR.
Hey now. It's your pal Robert Gordon from Tuesday Afternoons at the Idle Hour. I don't know how to work the controls. I don't know what I'm going to play. And no one's going to make you listen. See you there.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the rain is gone, the heat and the humidity is back. It was nice while it was here. And speaking of here, we're glad to have you here. And my first guest is a young man that I've known now for a few years. We worked together at one point in time for county government during the COVID drama that all of us had to experience for a couple of years. He is now the city manager of the city of Millington, which is his hometown. And please welcome to the show, Mr. Frankie Dakin. Frankie, it's great to see you, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on, Mr. Washington. You know,
I'm gonna cut this short, Frankie. You keep calling me Mr. Washington, all right?
You know, Chip. You know, I'll do my best. But
Yeah.
you know, I grew up here in Millington. We have manners, and you have a whole body of work, and you deserve respect. And it was such a privilege to work with you during the pandemic, even though that was a difficult time. So I'm glad to be here with you.
Absolutely, that, and the same on my end of the street too with you. So Millington, Frankie, is your hometown. You, as a matter of fact, let's just go back a little bit. He was the youngest ever elected alderman in Millington at the ripe old age of 20. What made you decide that you wanted to be in politics there, sir?
You know, well, I think I was probably less than 2 years removed from my previous political job, which was student government president at the time. And many things happened. And so there was some news in our community, and it got me going to a couple of our board of aldermen meetings. And I realized at that time that there wasn't a lot of representation for my generation, and somebody had to step up. And so I got with my friends at the time, and we had our first campaign meeting at McDonald's. It was free Wi-Fi and cheap coffee. And we devised a plan to work all summer long. And we ran against the longest serving incumbent at that time. And I was actually elected at 19, and I took office at 20.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So you've been in the game for a little bit, and you know I know a few folks that live in Millington, and they talk about what a wonderful community it is. First, Frankie, for those of us who don't know, what are the duties of a city manager?
Yeah, so I mean, you would think of what a mayor would be doing in a strong mayor form of government. I think if you're listening, and you would think of what a chief executive officer does for a private company. And so I run the administrative day to day. And the only difference between a city manager and a strong mayor form of government is I report to the board of aldermen. And so I'm responsible for managing the police department, fire department, public works, planning, stormwater, all the rest. And I report to the board of mayor and aldermen.
Wow, I did not know. Well, that's pretty interesting stuff there. So let's talk a little bit about Millington, and it obviously is a very special place. It is growing by leaps and bounds, and I'm not going to share what you told me about the track of Millington in terms of growth. I'm going to let you say that. But what is there about Millington that seems to attract so many people?
Well, Chip, you know, first off, I appreciate the opportunity to correct the record on Real Talk Memphis, because I often use a talking point that Millington is the fastest growing city in Tennessee's largest county. And we're so proud to be here in Shelby County in our proximity to world famous Memphis. But I've been incorrect. Recently, the numbers came out from the Randy Boyd Institute, and Millington is actually the fastest growing city in all of West Tennessee. And so I appreciate the opportunity to correct the record here and go ahead and get over that controversy, and my inaccuracy. But no, Chip, you're going to have to cut me off because I could talk all day. Millington is a very, very special place. And one of the things that makes it so special is the proximity to naval support activity Mid-South.
Right.
And we're proud to have be the home of the world's largest inland Navy base. And for over 100 years, we've played home to some version of that base. And because of that military influence, and then you combine that with the convergence of rural West Tennessee, and then our proximity to historic downtown Memphis, which I always try to remind everybody, Memphis is mentioned in more songs than any other city in the world for a good reason. Yeah. And we're so proud of our connection to Memphis. When you combine all those and the infrastructure that we have the infrastructure right now to more than double our population, the water, sewer, electric capacity. And at the conclusion conclusion of our current school master plan, the school classroom capacity to double in population without any significant new investments. And so that means it's a little bit more affordable to develop here. We're growing in the right way that solves the challenges of today and welcoming new people to our community. And we're proud to be, really the tip of the spear when it comes to growth in Shelby County, growth that we so desperately need.
Yeah, and hearing that, and again, I know several people who have moved to Millington, and really, you don't hear a lot of noise about your city, other than the fact that things seem to be going quite well there. What would you, when you first took this position or got this position, or however it was you are in the seat you're in now? What were some of the things that you wanted to target? What were some of the goals that you wanted to see the city reach as you move forward?
Absolutely. Well, the direction was pretty clear, and from our board of aldermen that hired me. In addition to focusing on the administration, the emergent needs that come out, I really had three things to focus on. The first was a fully staffed public safety division. So making sure our police department is fully staffed and our fire department is fully staffed. Chip, I'm glad to report that when I came on board, I believe there were 14 vacancies in that police department. We were nearly half staffed. Wow. And now we are fully staffed to where we would have been. Okay. And the only vacancies remaining are positions that we've added. We've done double-digit raises for both our police and fire. For our fire department, we had a rare vacancy recently in our fire department. We had 40 applications for 2 spots. And so we're really rocking and rolling when it comes to public safety, and you can see the effects in our community. There's a lot more blue lights around town, and that's a good thing. The second is more opportunities for kids and families. We've got to be pouring into it. That's why people come to a community. That's why people stay in a community. And so we've adopted a simple goal, and that's we invest in every park every year. And so you can go around our community and find that, and we're welcoming private investment as well in terms of the more opportunities for kids and family. Namely, the biggest news that we've had is we just landed a $40 million Tennessee College of Applied Technology that's going to focus on aviation to provide more opportunities to our kids and our families that want to upskill. And we just announced a $10 million expansion of our YMCA. And the third, Chip, and this one's probably been the most difficult, is to clean up the city. You know this, you've been in government before. Right. Code enforcement is one of the toughest things. You hear about it in every jurisdiction, and we've really, really cracked down. Yeah. We've cracked down our environmental code enforcement. We've held ourselves to a higher standard. We've made sure that vacant properties, as they are occupied, are brought up to code. And that has really been painstaking work. I was clear with my board of aldermen that is the sort of work that will likely get constituents calling for my head as we embark on it. And it's been tough. It's been tough. But if you look around town, you'll see that there's quite a few improvements all around town, and we really cleaned up our city. We fully staffed our public safety department, and every day we're focused on investing in kids and families. One
of the things that I wanted to ask you about was partnerships. I mean, you work for county government here. You understand how important that is, and now you're heading things out in Millington. So I would imagine that the relationships and the partnership opportunities for you all to work with Shelby County, City of Memphis, is probably something that's big on your plate too, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Every single day, we would be able to do what we're doing in terms of the tens of millions of dollars of investment that's going on in this community without leveraging our partnerships with the state, the federal, and of course, the county government. And the county government's been really good to Millington and have been a great partner under Mayor Harris's administration. And I'm just so excited about Mayor-elect Lowry's administration. He's been a longtime friend of Millington. During the campaign, he came out and he spent a lot of time out here to learn our issues and all the rest. And we're really, really grateful for his leadership there. We call on the county on a regular basis. And so, recently we started a detainee transfer program. And so our law enforcement officers that are transferring individuals who have been arrested are spending less time at 201 Poplar, and we're going to use jailers to do that detainee transfer program. We put in our budget a couple $100,000 to purchase a detainee transfer vehicle, but because of our relationship with Shelby County, we were able to get one gifted to us, and we were able to put those resources to better use. We expect to see that sort of partnership continue on a regular basis under Mayor-elect Lowry's leadership.
And speaking of that, he has as I mentioned in the headlines, he's put together a transition team. There's a lot of work to do, and nobody knows that better than you, having worked directly in that government. You were named as one of the individuals to be a part of that transition team. I would imagine it was because of the good work you did when you worked for the county. But how big a deal is that for you to help to set up this government, new administration?
Well, it's such a tall order. I don't think people realize how tight that time frame is from election to when he takes office in September. And so when you look at Mayor Lowry's transition team, and I would encourage everybody, I'll try to drop it in the comments of the live stream, the link to it. He really has a really diverse group of individuals that he's brought together from all across this county. They don't necessarily represent one community or one party or one entity. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. And I'm going to be working in the justice system working group, an area that I spent a lot of time on in my time in Mayor Harris's administration. Right. But when you look at that group, you really see Mayor-elect Lowry's commitment to all of Shelby. He's coined the term one Shelby. Mm-hmm. And I think when you see his transition committee, it really, really represents one Shelby. And so I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm going to be spending a lot of time after work hours and on evenings to do my part on the justice system working group to make sure that when Mayor Lowry comes in, that his priorities are fleshed out and working towards making our justice system a little bit more fair, a little bit more equitable every day.
Well, listen, man, it's good to catch up with you, and I'm really happy for you, and I'm happy for the folks out there in Millington. I'm older than a lot of folks around here, so I'm proud. Anytime I see somebody younger than me doing well, I'm very, very proud. I always enjoyed our relationship when we worked at the county together, and I just wish you much, much, much great success, and all the folks out there in Millington.
Same to you, Chip. I guess I'll try my best to call you Chip. It's such an honor to join you. And, I picked up a tipper trick from you working so closely with you, and so grateful for you. And please let me know if there's ever anything I can do for you, or if you ever want me to come back on the show to talk about any host of issues. You got that, my friend. Thank you, Frankie. I really appreciate you, man. And best of luck. Best of luck. Yes, sir. Frankie Dakin, ladies and gentlemen, he is the man out there in Millington. He's the city manager, and they're doing very, very, very well. I'm so happy to have him on the show tonight. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's reset. We have another guest waiting in the bullpen. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Let's go. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page, and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Woman's intuition, woman's prerogative. Sometimes, only a woman's point of view will do. Listen to Valley of the Dolls, Sunday, 1 to 2 p.m. on WYXR 91.7 FM. A chance to hear a woman's thoughts and feelings.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip Washington with you. Glad to have you along for the ride. And my next guest is not a stranger to this program. She is someone who I can honestly say cares about her fellow man, woman, and child. She is one of the smartest people I know. And she's also a city councilwoman for the city of Memphis. Please welcome back to the show, Jerri Green. I see you, my friend. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
Did I do okay with that intro there? You good with
You
that?
did. You did.
Not too bad for.
I thought you were going to lean into one tough mother at some point.
Oh yeah, well she's absolutely one tough mother. There's no doubt about that. How are the three young ones?
You know, school's back in. Everybody's adjusting to being back up. There's a lot of finding of shoes and things like that early in the morning these days.
Well, I can completely and totally understand that. Now, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. But one, obviously, you're a city councilwoman, and I want to, and I haven't talked to you about this for a while, but I want to get just off the top. Your state of the city. You know, there's always something going on around here, and I know the city council has been working on some things. One of them, I think, is that you're going to bring up tomorrow was about the XAI, the data centers. But from your perspective, Jerri, and you have never been afraid to express your thoughts and opinions in a very open and honest way. But as the city of Memphis goes, how does it go with you?
Look, I think we're on a great trend. You know, you and I have talked about crime a lot on this show, and crime is down over 45%, I believe. And so our homicides in particular, that's really amazing. We're on the right track with MATA. We're, going to be unveiling, I think, 12 new buses this week. Oh. So things are trending really upwards. But, you're right. We do have work to do. We've got work to do with these data centers to make sure that we are protecting the people of Memphis that are most impacted and making sure that we're doing right by our environment because, we need our air. We need our water. We're very precious about our water here in Memphis, right?
Absolutely that. And, speaking of that, there are people in this city who are still fighting each and every day against this XAI deal. There's a lot. I mean, you're out there. These folks out here have certain thoughts and opinions about all of this. What is the objection to more data centers from the perspective of the Memphis City Council?
Well, I think at this point, it's just there's a lot of unknowns, especially as it comes towards protecting our resources. And so, for example, one of the ways that we were working with XAI to protect those was through the gray water facility or the wastewater treatment facility, and then it got paused. Now, we hear that it's hopefully going to continue in January, but that caused a lot of concern for many of us on the council. We're also worried about them being a drain on our power grid and how we protect that. And of course, the air, the temporary turbines, and the problems that people are saying they're experiencing out in Boxwood, Westwood, those areas that are very close to the XAI centers. So we want to make sure that we're protecting people's health and also protecting our jobs. I mean, the thing with AI in general is it can eliminate a lot of jobs. So we got to make sure we're protecting those as well.
And in reference to all of that, one of the things that the folks across the line down there in Mississippi, South Haven, they made a bit of a ruckus about the noise and a lot of other things that were happening in all of this. And they decided to shut that thing. Were you surprised at the action that XAI took in reference to that?
I hope they're starting to listen to the community. I'm traveling the state now, and McMinnville, Nashville, so many other counties, they are expressing the same concerns. Citizens don't want these in their backyards, whether it's next to the zoo, at an HBCU, you name it. They just don't want these loud data centers in their backyards. And if they're going to be in place, we've got to make sure that there are some regulations around them. I tell people it's kind of like the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, right? The Industrial Revolution has done some great things, but when they first came in, there were plumes of smoke in the sky. And so we had to implement the EPA. There were kids doing labor. There was, people losing limbs on factory lines. So we had OSHA come in. And I think people just want to implement changes like that at the start and not after it causes environmental or human harm.
One item that I have spoken with the mayor about, he's been on the show before as well, but one of the things I know that sticks in his craw, and I know it sticks in yours, blight. The issue of blight in this city is a big issue, and it continues to be. But from your perspective, Jerri, are people starting to do better in reference to that? I mean, where do you see that particular issue in terms of the day-to-day?
Well, I tell people there's things that you can do about blight, right? You can call your city council person and I'll make sure that we get our services out there. You can call 311. or even bend down and pick it up. Like, we've all got to start taking some responsibility for this city if we want it to be beautiful again, to be named one of the most beautiful cities. And I think there is some of that happening. I think people are taking some responsibility. The Own Your Block program, some of our churches are doing that, some of our other organizations. But I also think that the resources that the city has put into, the council has allocated specifically towards this issue, has been really important. The legislation that we've put in place to sue people in court and make them pay for things when we have to go in and spend hours cleaning up. I was just out delivering Meals on Wheels with my assistant the other day, and we went into an apartment complex that, of course, is, a gated complex. We got back there, and the trash cans, the big ones that you go dump your trash off of, they were all over full and had an equal amount that would fill up a whole nother dumpster next to them.
Oh, wow.
So I called our community services team. They spent 7 hours out there with giant machines scooping up the trash out there. We're not going to be holding that apartment owner responsible. And that's what we should be doing. And so we're just being a lot more proactive instead of reactive. And I think it's going to take all of us. I mean, there's so many things like this out there in the world that it's going to take each of us doing our part.
You mentioned at the top MATA, which has been that's been an issue for quite some period of time. You talked about 12 new buses. Do you feel that, a lot of folks have a lot of things to say about MATA, especially those who depend on public transportation, that we starting to make a little ground? Are we starting to gain a little bit of something? Because, it's lost. A lot of folks are very, very angry about this whole issue with MATA, the buses, the lack of transportation, the length of time it takes for a bus to get to a certain stop. How are you feeling about that?
Look, all of that is very legitimate, and we've had a new structure and new leadership in place for 9 months. It takes 9 months to get a bus ordered, purchased, built, and to us. And so we have 12 of those coming. By this time next year, we should have our whole fleet replaced with new buses. We were able to get $40 million in grants from federal and state and other resources that won't cost the city. Replacing our whole fleet is a big first step. We did make buses free before Mom Dunny, take that, New York City. And we have seen an increase in ridership, and we've at the same time seen an increase of on-time delivery.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not great. It's still not great. We have more shelters in place. Those shelters are being mowed. They have signage. All of these things are things we're doing. We're about to have some social workers that will help with homeless people that ride around to get them connected with services. All of that's important. But people really want a world-class transportation system, and that just takes time. And so I ask people to be patient. This past council budget season, I put in the first dedicated funding source for public transportation ever, $10 million from our wheel tax. Okay. I hope to double that in the future so that we have a dedicated $20 million every year going just to public transportation. Those are the kinds of things, that's kind of investment that is every year is really going to be important moving forward. Do I think it's perfect? Do I think people shouldn't be still complaining? No. But I do hope that people see the improvements we've made and continue to work with us as we try to change it.
Now, Jerri, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that there was an election not too long ago, and you were involved in that. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, there was a primary, and you won your primary to lead this state. And whoever wins this contest in November would be the first female to ever lead the state of Tennessee. Just thinking about that on its face, on its whole, what does that say to you? What does that mean to you? What year is it? 2026, and this is the first time that we've ever seen a situation like this. But how do you see it?
Well, it's very humbling to be a part of history and to be the first female nominee of the Democratic Party in the state of Tennessee. Actually, my race was called first, so I was the first ever of either party.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Look, I think about it in the framework of my daughter and her friends, and for them to be able to see that leadership could be them. I think about the trailblazers, like my mother's generation that came before us, and what I owe to them to be able to be in this space. But you're right. I often take when we have Girl Scout troops or Girls for Hutchinson, some our all-girls schools, something come to Girls Inc. come to the city hall and I give them tours, I take them down to the Hall of Mayors. You go down to the Hall of Mayors, it's a whole bunch of portraits of men.
Yeah.
In fact, there's only 2 black men, so it's mostly just old white men. And I look at the girls and I say, turn around this room and tell me what you noticed. And inevitably somebody says there's no girls. And I'll say, do you think in our 200-year history, there wasn't one woman that was qualified enough to be the mayor? And they'll be like, no. And I'll say, okay, and that means we still have work to do and you need to get your portrait up on this wall. So I hope that, people will actually recognize that women can lead the state, they could lead our city, they could lead our county, and they deserve a voice at the table.
Well, that's very, very important. And, we're still dealing with first in a lot of categories, around this country, politically and otherwise. And I guess, with the splitting of District 9 into 3, different, there's just been a lot of issues in terms of us as a people. Now, I'm big on pushing people to go to vote. I don't miss an election, and I don't think that people should miss elections because they determine a lot of things that could happen down the road. 13% of people who are registered to vote in Shelby County voted on Election Day. Now, that to me is absolutely abysmal, but we seem to be in that trend. Jerri, how do we create an excitement level or an attention to these elections when they come around? I think we just take them for granted now. The early election, the early voting, 90,000 folks turned out. Pretty good on that for 90,000. But on election day, it was pathetic. I know that your team and you guys do a lot of work and a lot of research and you're looking at this and that and everything else. Can you figure out the why in all of the things you look at in terms of the number of folks that go to vote on election day?
I think it's a combination of things. First off, I do recommend early voting. You don't ever know if you could get in a car accident and not be able to make it out to election day. So vote early. That's always great. And you can vote at any location. But, and we had our highest voter turnout here in Shelby County that we've had in 10 years, but still it is not actually enough for us to move the needle. I think it's more that we've got to educate people about what these offices do, how they actually impact your life. I hear especially young voters say, I don't care about politics because they're never going to change anything in my life.
Right.
Well, you cannot care about politics, but politics is going to care about you. They're going to care about whether your schools get funded. They're going to care about whether your roads get repaired. They're going to care about whether you can afford groceries, gas, medicine. Like, it's going to come up in your life one way or the other. And so we've got to educate people on these decisions. I do think the gerrymandering is, well, one, intentional, but also it has put a damper, particularly on the Democratic vote in Tennessee, because voting's kind of like a muscle. Like, the more you do it, it's like exercising, the more you continue to do it, right?
Yeah.
But they have drawn districts to rig the game where it is so much so that they're picking their voters instead of their voters picking them, then it feels like, why bother going, right? My voice isn't going to matter. My voice isn't going to be heard.
Sure.
So, I think in particular, a statewide race is a great place for us to prove that your voice does matter. And I will just say this city council race that I'm sitting in now, I'm the first, I know it's allegedly nonpartisan, but it's pretty clear I'm a Democrat. I'm the first Democrat to ever hold it. I'm only the second woman. In our 200-year history, we ushered in our first female majority of the city council in our 200 history when I got elected, and I won it by 56 votes. So every vote matters. And I hope people remember that coming up this year.
Well, listen, it's great to see you again. It's great to have you on the show. Congratulations on being the Democratic nominee for governor. And we will all be watching and waiting to see what happens in November. But in the meantime, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate you. Safe travels on the road out there. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great night.
Okay. You too. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jerri Green. Some frank, open, honest conversations about what's happening locally. And as she said, she's in a race now where, whoever wins will be the first woman elected governor in the state of Tennessee. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, see how that's all going to fall out, shake out, and everything else. Let's take one final break. I'm supposed to have one final guest. I'm hoping that he shows up tonight. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't you dare go away. We're not done.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Mike from Somewhere There. Tune in every Wednesday from 6 to 7. We'll go on a journey across genres and decades, only here at WYXR 91.7 FM Memphis.
Hey, it's Mac Man from your Mac Man Music Show. Tune in every Wednesday at 5 to 6 for the best in all kinds of soul, rhythm and blues, jazz, a little hip hop, and all kinds of music on WYXR 91.7 FM.
Hey now. It's your pal Robert Gordon from Tuesday afternoons at the Idle Hour. I don't know how to work the controls. I don't know what I'm going to play. And no one's going to make you listen. See you there.
This is Jimmy McDonough, king of the crazy biographers, commanding you to listen to Burnt Ends on WYXR Radio. Memphis maniac Eric Plumley sifts through flea markets.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and my next guest. This is his first time on this show, and I am very, very happy to have him. Many of you know him. A lot of you are sports fans in this town, and he, along with his co-host, they do a little show weekday mornings in this town. Jason and John, 92.9 ESPN from 9 a.m. to noon, and I am so happy to welcome to the show Jason Smith. And Jason, my friend, it's great to have you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Chip. It's an absolute pleasure to join you, man. Feels long overdue.
Yes, sir.
Long overdue to join you.
Yes, sir.
So appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely that, man. Absolutely. Thank you. So listen, I listen to you on my way to work in the morning. I do a little talk show around this time myself, but I listen to you on my way in every single day. You and John, now you've been doing that show now. How many years have you guys been
will be 10 years in October.
Wow.
I've been on since 2016, early October of 2016 is when we started together as co-hosts.
Has time flown for you?
It's absolutely flown. To have come off, Chip, 13 years in the newspaper business. So if you had told me, 2016, you're going to spend the next 10 in radio, I'd have told you you're lying. Because I'll be honest with you, while I had high hopes, we didn't know if we were going to last. We didn't know how long it would last, if it was going to last past 12 months. And so I feel blessed, Chip, obviously, to have been doing it 10. But yeah, you asked me if it's flown. It has, man, to look back and think that, my gosh, you've been doing something that, You went to school for newspapers. That's something you thought you knew. This radio game, this whole world.
Yeah.
For it to roll the last 10 years the way it has, I would tell you it's absolutely flown by. It absolutely has.
Well, listen, man, you guys are very entertaining and very knowledgeable. So I want to ask you about a couple of things. And we're starting to warm up again. And I heard you talking this morning. Football is we're starting to juice up a little bit now. We got preseason in the NFL. College is right around the corner, and then right after that, we're talking about the Tigers and then the Grizzlies and the whole 9 yards. So you're about to get really, really busy. Yes. Let me ask you, Jason, to kind of, if you can explain a little bit about the philosophy that, the St. Jude Golf Classic just ended yesterday. And I heard you guys talking a little bit about it. Things are going to change after next year. Did we get demoted? What happened with all of that in terms of the status of the event?
Well, you got one more year where you'll be basically elite status, to where you'll be the FedEx St. Jude Championship as we know it. Top 70 golfers, part of the FedEx playoff. But after that, and the PGA had, long alluded to a change coming up and what it thought it needed to do, in part to drum up interest, but in part to create, bigger events in terms of promotions and everything else. And so their aim had been seemingly to go away from the FedEx Cup playoff, something obviously FedEx had sponsored. You had a first leg of it here in Memphis, and that decision to move away from that is why ultimately after next year, you will be a different sort of event. Now, we don't know what it's going to be, Chip, in terms of, the type of form it's going to take. PGA's got a couple of different plans in mind. There's a Champions Tour. There's a Challenger Series. Sounds like they want us on the Challenger Series, which would be lower level golfers coming to what's been clearly a world class in terms of the way that event is run, but it would be lower level golfers, and whether or not the city would support it in the way that it had would be the question. Now, you do it earlier in the year, Chip, instead of the August heat, you do it in March. Now, that might be a welcome thing for Memphians, but if you don't have the Rorys, if you don't have the Scotty Schefflers, if you don't have the best of the best out there, well, it's not exactly the same thing. And I think that's part of why you've seen FedEx make the decision, listen, we want to stay involved with Memphis in a golf tournament and obviously with St. Jude, but in terms of what the PGA wants to do, clearly the sides going separate ways there. And so for those reasons, it won't be the golf tournament in the sense, the elite status golf tournament that it's been for the last 60 plus years. And while that's unfortunate, FedEx has had Memphis's back. I think it's most unfortunate, Chip, for the folks at St. Jude. That tournament's raised 86 plus million.
Wow.
And I think it hopes to raise 100 million by the time it's said and done at the end of 2027. So St. Jude doesn't get that story told on a national level to the same degree that it has the last few years. But Memphis will always find a way. It'll always persevere.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, that FedEx and the Smith family, they'll have Memphis's back and whatever sort of the next generation of that event is.
Talk to me, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Talk to me about college football. Talk to me about your thoughts and feelings. You've spoken with him about the Charles Huff era as pertains to the Memphis Tigers football team.
I am so excited about Charles Huff and what he's here to do, which is frankly give this fan base, the Memphis, the Memphis fans, football fans who have long hoped to, hopefully play for something even bigger, which is not just conference titles, but having a shot at a college football playoff. It's something, Chip, that, for decades you could not say about Memphis football.
Right. Having
the chance to compete for a national championship. And while I tell you, even in this 12-team playoff, it's a long shot. It's having that seat at the table.
Yeah.
It's what's really driven the basketball program all these years, having a shot to win in the big game, right? Not just making a Sweet 16, but advancing. And that basketball program's done it, 3 times the Final Four? Well, college football in the place that it's in right now, with Memphis in the place that it's in, more investment than it's ever had, you've got an opportunity to do something you've never done, which is make that college football playoff. We saw the potential, Chip, in 2019, when Mike Norvell won a conference championship, had the Tigers playing, and then a New Year's Six Bowl. You went to the Cotton Bowl, played Penn State. Beale Street was packed for a game day.
Yes.
Getting that chance now, to be in a college football playoff is what you hope, not just a boon of excitement for Memphis and for the program, but Chip, hopefully it's something that eventually, shows whether it's a new look ACC or a Big 12 that 3, 4, 5 times has told you, no, you're not one of us. Hopefully you've got a hot football program that in the next few years, as hopefully for Memphis, realignment opens back up. You've got a football program that's sizzling. You've got a basketball program that's back to national relevance and prominence, and they are pulling you up, which has long been the desire and the hope for that Memphis athletic program to be a part of the power structure and have a true seat at the table. Hopefully football, and Charles Huff right there at the head of it, can help you do that, Chip. There's so much riding on it. Huff he understands it. He's not running away from it. The man said, I know I got to win. I know I got to win fast.
Yep.
And so hopefully he can do what Ryan Silverfield could not, which is take advantage of the resources you've got more than ever and get Memphis to a perch it's never been at.
One final thing I want to ask you about, because while we were living the saga of Ja Morant, you had said, for a while you didn't think, you didn't think he would be here. You thought he'd be gone. He's gone now. He's in Portland. What do the Grizzlies look like moving forward without him, in your opinion?
To be honest with you, we don't know. They're off to a good start. Chip, I'd be lying to you if I sat up here and told you, oh man, they're in great shape. Future looks bright for sure. They just need to get Ja, move on from him, and now, sure, everything's going to be, peaches and cream. I'd be lying if I told you I was sure of that. What we know is that they've done a better than average job, and in some minds, David Aldridge, who's a Hall of Famer, writes for The Athletic, has covered the NBA for a long time.
Yeah.
Graded them 5th in terms of NBA off seasons.
Oh.
Not in terms of what they will be going into next year, but the work they have done in hitting the reset button, pivoting to a new, younger build. And right at the middle of it, you've got a guy that, Chip, I know it's early. I know he's just 19, but I don't think we'll be asking the same questions about Cameron Boozer and whether or not he gets it, or whether or not he's ever going to be the pro that this franchise or this city needs. Keep in mind, Cameron Boozer raised in a different way. His father was a longtime NBA player, Carlos Boozer, a different pedigree. Yeah. And that's not faulting T. Morant or Ja Morant for the way that he was raised. I mean, clearly having that chip on his shoulder is part of what made Ja Morant the star player that he was. But the point was, we were asking those questions, Chip, in year 6 and year 7 of Ja. Questions that long should have been answered, and you were hoping he could be the leader of a franchise. I don't think we're going to be asking those questions about Cameron Boozer. So what, if nothing else, you have got at least one tent pole in terms of the future, in terms of a guy that feels like he's going to be foundational for you in Cameron Boozer. You're hoping Zach Edey is that. You're hoping Cedric Coward is that. And if, Chip, you can build it sturdier, I think more substance, less style, perhaps in terms of the way it's built. We love our guys to talk, and we also love them to. But what's most important in Memphis is that you back it up. And I think for a long time we got too caught up in the talk and the sauce and all the all the style as opposed to substance. So it's got to be built back firmer, Chip. And I think same general manager, no promise that it will be. He's getting a second chance. Zach Kleiman, still young in terms of what he's done in this league, but getting this second chance, you like the way he's at least pivoted and admitted, hey, that first build wasn't going to work. And you like the haul that he's gotten back in some of these cases for Bane and for Jerri. Hopefully it's all going to add up to a competitive team, not 5 years from now. Chip, it's got to be competitive in a year or two. In a small market like Memphis, you cannot afford a long rebuild. So hopefully it's going to happen quick for Memphis and for the Grizzlies.
Well, man, listen, I really enjoyed talking to you. I really enjoyed this interview.
Pleasure.
And I would be remiss if I did not say this. You are your father's son. I loved your dad, as so many of us did. Les Smith, God rest his soul. He was an incredible, and he's got incredible sons, and I'm talking about you and your brother, man. So
thank you, brother.
God bless.
It was an absolute pleasure, man. God bless you, and let's do this again soon. All right, I enjoyed it as well.
We absolutely will. Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate it. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Jason Smith, ladies and gentlemen. 92.9 ESPN. Jason and John show Monday through Fridays. They do a really, really amazing job on that show. That's going to wrap it up for me. This has been a really, really, really good show. Don't go away, because Bryn, who's sitting a couple of feet from me to the right side of me, is coming up with an all new fresh event horizon.